Critical race theory, or CRT, that is a phrase you have likely heard a lot about at school board meetings or even here on the news. So what is it, and is it really being taught in our local schools? Jay Jarvis sits down with some educators and concerned parents turned activists to sort through the issues and what is perception versus reality.
Please refrain from disrupting the board meeting.
Just a year ago, many Americans had probably never heard of the phrase critical race theory.
We will not tolerate the schools to indoctrinate our children.
But now it's everywhere.
You're out of order.
Exploding into the public consciousness and causing debates in communities nationwide.
We're all out here today to draw attention to critical race theory,
including here in Ohio. But why? Because some parents think it's sending students the wrong message about our nation's history and future.
CRT claims that we're a nation founded on white supremacy, patriarchy, and oppression.
The kids up here, down here, kids up here, it's equality. That's what the racism, this critical race theory is about, bringing equality, which is communism.
Robin Blake and Jocelyn Kopic are co-chairs of Moms for Liberty Medina. Both oppose critical race theory and believe it's being pushed by both lawmakers and private citizens to sow division into communities.
You're teaching kids that you're different based on your skin color, and that's not what makes people different. It's their character, and that is a huge problem with critical race theory.
But educators we spoke with say many people don't understand what CRT is and where it's taught.
It was originally a class that was designed by a professor at a law school to deal with the impact of race on the development of this country.
Reuters defines CRT as an approach to studying U.S. policies and institutions that is most often taught in law schools, and that it explores how race and racism have shaped American law and society.
At that time,
Mwatabu Okanta, the interim chair of the Department of Africana Studies at Kent State University, believes the CRT controversy stems from some parents being uncomfortable with the content of those topics and their children learning them.
No one is accusing the United States in this sense of being a racist country, but racism exists in the country. It's a country whose political economy was founded on chattel slavery. And all kinds of consequences have accrued from that.
But is CRT actually being taught in classrooms? Kopic thinks so.
From what I understand from people on the state board, they are pushing this stuff. They're being sneaky about it.
News 5 reached out to the Ohio Department of Education, which says it does not reference CRT in its learning standards or model curricula, although ultimately local school boards have complete control over curriculum decisions.
I don't think there's been any change in the curriculum. The state standards are what they are.
Scott DeMauro is the president of the Ohio Education Association. He's been a high school social studies teacher for 31 years and says he didn't know anything about CRT until he heard people who are opposed to it talk about it earlier this year.
I think there were, some politicians and think tanks, particularly people looking at how to find issues, culture war issues that will allow them to get advantages in upcoming elections.
And he believes the debate is taking away from work being done statewide to ensure all students, regardless of background, get a high-quality education.
We have to be intentional about diversity, intentional about equity, intentional about inclusion. And unfortunately, under the guise of the critical race theory debate, those important efforts have been called into question.
Think about that.
Kopic and Blake say they don't really want any changes to what schools are teaching children. They just don't want critical race theory in the curriculum.
I think just truth and just encouraging civil debate among all the issues.
We just don't want this new stuff introduced to our children because it's all about pushing an agenda.
But the educators we spoke with think instead race needs to be a bigger part of the conversation in order to move forward together.
It's not about pointing fingers, but it is about understanding the truth, understanding the whole picture of who we are as a nation, what has made us great, what our weaknesses are, and what are the things that we need to do to be better.
Jay Jarvis, News 5.